Hey everyone, it's Irene Lyon here, and welcome to this entire world of nervous system, health, healing, trauma, and all things neuroplasticity. Today, I have what I consider to be a fun clip, only that it is a portion of a show that depicts something so key when it comes to working with our traumas and working with our nervous system. Now, the clip itself has a little spice in it, a little horror. I will give you that. I want to give it some context first, however. Now, this also goes really well with some of the themes I've been teaching this year, namely one of the vlogs earlier this year titled, and I'm just going to get it right here, The Trouble with Only Running to the Light. This is something I did alongside with my husband and colleague Seth, and we break down a very specific scene in the Stranger Things show where one of the main characters is always going to positive resources, which are important, but it's not enough to heal our wounds and our trauma. So that's all I'll say for that one. If you haven't watched that video, I really recommend it. It was helpful for a lot of people. And in that, there's also some scenes of a gory monster. Now, I also want to say, I do not recommend watching horror films. So films where that's all it is from start to finish, Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason, all these really terrifying shows. If you like them, all good, but I don't really recommend them. However, sometimes a little light touch of reality, the horrors of our lives, the traumas we've endured and survived can be very useful. So, this is a clip that I posted well over a year ago, and it got reposted on my social, and it was just really appreciated by many people. And even one of our students said, wow, now that I'm actually regulating my nervous system, this just kind of looks comical and silly. Another said, I can actually watch this straight through and not feel activation, still feel regulated, but it doesn't trigger, it doesn't activate me in a negative way. When we can watch things like this and we're not like that, that's a good sign that we've moved into a bigger capacity, maybe even real window of tolerance. Now, this is very different than seeing something like this and shutting down and getting in total like deer in the headlight shock. We don't want that either. So I just provide a little extra context here. So in this clip, in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is further into the series, Jemma and Fitz, these two main characters who are wonderful, by the way, they are trapped in an AI simulation by the bad people, and they're trying to get their weaknesses out. And it's being shown in front of them without them doing anything. This is what you're hiding. This is your dark shadow, to go to the work of Jung, shadow work. And in this clip, there is a music box that pops up almost like a dream. And from that shows what is inside the music box, and essentially how that music box was something that Jemma used to keep all her troubles away and at bay. In other words, repressed. So I wanted to show this to you because these are the things that come after us, either in our dreams or through us just being terrified, is when we don't work with these things that are deep within us, they come back to scare us, to haunt us. If anything, I hope this is a way to encourage you to do this work, to start small, start slow, titrate the work. And from my experience, and of course from some of our students who have said that they've seen this clip after they've done the work, and I think before they didn't like it, and then after they saw it and like, oh, no big deal, that shows that we are gaining regulation and we're not activated, i.e. triggered by things that are horrific. The final thing I'll say, I've done some other videos on the importance of working with horror and scary things. When we neglect to work with these things from our past, it will make it such that things around us put us into survival a lot easier. And in the world, there's always going to be terrible things that happen. things that we hear about, things that we don't want to see or know about, but they come in front of us, and we don't want to shut down, and we don't want to go into more activation and dysregulation when we see these things, because what happens is we start to just disconnect from other things in the world that are good. So that's the other reason to understand this, to do this work, is to be able to face our horrors, our demons, these things that haunt us, and literally get them out of the box, face them head on, work with them, integrate them, heal. Enjoy the clip, and I do recommend Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a very good show. Take care, everyone.
It's gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I found you.
Serious?
So it's got to be alright. You're on the dark side. That's okay. Everything has to be okay.
Jemma? I had no idea you were holding on to all that.
What's the point? Don't let anyone know, that's the whole idea.
You are so English.
Okay, if you've made it this far, I wanted to add one more final note around this topic of horror and scary lady demons. This is a real archetype. So there's an archetype called the Hag, Hague. And many people who've experienced near-death experiences, extreme violence and trauma, and especially surgical trauma, in other words, having terrifying surgical experiences. One of them is waking up while you're under anesthesia. There are commonalities where people will talk about dreams where they can't move, where they feel like they're being held down, and there's this lady demon essentially that comes and chases people. This is something that I experienced throughout my entire childhood up until my late 20s and early 30s. It wasn't until I started working within the worlds of somatic experiencing that these scary, horrific dreams started to leave. So if you know that this is something that maybe you've experienced, or you know someone who has these kinds of night terrors, I really recommend checking out an article I wrote quite a while ago called Time to Talk About Surgical Trauma, a Personal Story. It's my personal story around working with these horrific images of these demons, these hags. It may be of use for some of you who think that maybe you're just having really colorful dreams and they don't connect to anything. I can tell you this, they probably do connect to something, and often we don't connect things like a surgery experience or a traumatic event with what we process when we're sleeping. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And again, be sure to check out these other resources that are in the show more section.